Samson and Revenge. Against the Philistines. In the time of the judges in Israel, there was a man named Samson. He was known for his superhuman strength, a gift given by God from his mother's womb. Samson was a Nazirite, dedicated to God from the beginning of his life, and his hair was the symbol of this consecration. But before we start, I want to invite you to join this journey with us and support our work by writing to the channel, leaving a like and comment if you liked the video, and also comment if you want a specific topic. Samson's story began to unfold when he fell in love with a woman named Delilah, who lived among the Philistines, Israel's enemies. The Philistine leaders saw in Delilah an opportunity to discover the secret of Samson's strength, and they persuaded him to help them. Delilah, cunning and intriguing, pressured Samson to reveal the secret of his strength. 3 times he deceived her with false answers, but finally, giving in to Delilah's tears and persistent persuasions, he revealed the true secret. Her hair could not be cut, as it represented her consecration to God. The Philistines, armed with this knowledge, waited for the perfect opportunity to capture Samson. During his sleep, they cut his hair and tied it up, believing that his strength was gone. Samson agreed and observed that his strength was gone. The Philistines captured him, blinded his eyes, and put him in chains. However, Samson's hair began to grow back while he was in prison, symbolizing the return of his strength and the renewal of his faith in God. The Philistines decided to celebrate their victory over Samson by bringing him to a large event in the temple of Dagon. That day, the temple was full of people, and Samson, leaning on the columns that supported the building, asked God for strength. With a final act of courage and faith, he pushed the columns with all his might, causing the temple to collapse, killing himself and all the Philistines present. Samson's revenge was devastating, as he killed more Philistines in his death than in his entire life. His sacrifice restored Israel's honor and weakened Philistine rule over the land. Samson's story is a testimony to the power of faith and dedication to God, even in moments of weakness. His life and sacrifice serve as an example of how inner strength can be more powerful than any physical strength, and how trust in God can lead to redemption and victory over enemies. Samson remains one of the heroes of faith in biblical history, reminding us of the importance of our relationship with God in every moment of our lives. After the fall of the temple and Samson's death, his family and fellow countrymen went to find his body to give him a proper burial. Samson's body was buried between Zorah and Eshtaol, in a tomb close to that of his father, Manoah. Thus, Samson rested in his homeland, where his heroic actions and sacrifice would remain a lasting legacy for Israel. Samson's leadership as judge in Israel lasted for a period of 20 years. During this time, he fought against the Philistines and accomplished many notable feats. His story is full of episodes of bravery and tenacity, from killing a lion with his own hands to defeating entire Philistine armies. Samson is also remembered for his tumultuous life and weaknesses. His attraction to Philistine women, including Delilah, led him into dangerous situations, and ultimately the betrayal that resulted in his capture. His story serves as a reminder of how disobedience to divine precepts and turning away from a life consecrated to God can lead to disastrous consequences. Samson's final revenge against the Philistines, although it cost him his own life, freed Israel from Philistine oppression and restored faith and hope in God. His example has endured through the centuries as an inspiring narrative of redemption and sacrifice in the name of justice and faith. Samson is remembered not only for his supernatural physical strength, but also for his spiritual strength and the recognition that his strength came from God. His story continues to inspire people to trust God in times of adversity, and to remember that even in human weaknesses, faith can bring redemption and victory over life's challenges. Thus, the story of Samson and his revenge against the Philistines remains one of the most striking accounts in the Bible, a testimony to the interaction between humanity and the divine, and an enduring lesson about the importance of faith, dedication, and purpose in our lives. Samson's story is a reminder of the complexity of the human condition. He was a man blessed with extraordinary strength, but he also faced internal and external challenges. His search for love and his penchant for Philistine women led him into moral dilemmas and dangerous situations. However, even in his moments of weakness and error, Samson never forgot his consecration to God. His physical strength, symbolized by his untouched hair, was intrinsically linked to his faith and dedication to God. When his hair was cut and his strength was gone, he recognized his dependence on God and cried out for divine help. Samson's revenge against the Philistines was not only a quest for retaliation, but also an act of faith and a final act of courage. He knew that his sacrifice could free his people from Philistine oppression and tyranny. The collapse of the Temple of Dagon, which killed Samson and the Philistine leaders, symbolized the fall of oppression and the restoration of hope for the Israelites. The story of Samson is a timeless narrative that teaches us about the power of faith, the weight of choices, and the redemption that can come from even the darkest moments of our lives. It's a story that reminds us that regardless of our weaknesses and mistakes, we can find strength and purpose when we put our trust in God and seek to do what is right. Samson stands as a striking example of how faith and determination can overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges, and how surrender to a greater purpose can lead to extraordinary achievements. His story is an inspiration for all generations, a testimony to the divine grace that operates in the lives of those who believe. In his death, Samson not only found peace, but also left a lasting legacy that echoes through the pages of the Bible and in the minds of those who seek to understand the complex relationship between human frailty and divine strength. Samson's story continues to illuminate our paths, reminding us that, even in the most difficult situations, faith can lead us to victory and redemption. The story of Samson is a timeless narrative that teaches us about the power of faith, the weight of choices, and the redemption that can come from even the darkest moments of our lives. It's a story that reminds us that regardless of our weaknesses and mistakes, we can find strength and purpose when we put our trust in God and seek to do what is right. Samson stands as a striking example of how faith and determination can overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges, and how surrender to a greater purpose can lead to extraordinary achievements. His story is an inspiration for all generations, a testimony to the divine grace that operates in the lives of those who believe. In his death, Samson not only found peace, but also left a lasting legacy that echoes through the pages of the Bible and in the minds of those who seek to understand the complex relationship between human frailty and divine strength. Samson's story continues to illuminate our paths, reminding us that, even in the most difficult situations, faith can lead us to victory and redemption. Samson, from the beginning, was destined to fulfill a special mission in the pages of Israel's history. His birth was announced by an angel to his parents, Manoah and his wife, who were childless. The angel instructed that Samson was to be a Nazirite from birth, which meant he was not to consume wine nor cut his hair, and was to be consecrated to God. From a young age, Samson's extraordinary strength was evident. One of the most famous episodes of his youth was when he killed a lion with just his bare hands. His reputation as a powerful man soon spread throughout the region. As Samson grew, he also fell in love. In one of his first relationships, he married a Philistine woman, which caused his parents concern. This union had an unexpected outcome when Samson proposed a riddle to his fellow Philistines during a wedding feast. Unable to decipher the riddle, the Philistines turned to Samson's wife for the answer, which led to the revelation of the riddle and the couple's separation. Samson's love life became even more complicated when he fell in love with Delilah, a Philistine woman. The Philistine leaders saw Delilah as an opportunity to weaken Samson and bribed him to discover the secret of his strength. Delilah, although she loved Samson, was persuaded to discover the secret of his power. Samson, carried away by his passion, ended up revealing that his strength lay in his untouched hair, which should never be cut. The Philistines acted quickly, cutting Samson's hair while he slept. When he awoke, he found his strength gone, and the Philistines seized him and blinded him. Samson was now a prisoner, forced to turn a mill in prison. However, during this time of suffering and humiliation, Samson's hair began to grow back, and with it his faith in God. He prayed fervently for restoration and strength. God heard his pleas and Samson's strength returned. The opportunity for revenge arose when the Philistines took him to the Temple of Dagon to celebrate their victory over him. Samson, in a final act of courage and faith, asked God for strength and pushed the columns that supported the temple. The building collapsed, crushing Samson and all the Philistines present. Samson's revenge was complete. Although it cost him his life, he managed to free his people from Philistine oppression and restore faith in God and Israel. Samson's story is a journey of ups and downs, marked by passion, error, regret, and finally redemption. It's a reminder that even in the darkest situations, faith and determination can lead us to victory. Samson stands as a hero of faith, an example of how God uses imperfect people to fulfill his purposes, and a reminder that true strength comes from God. The story of Samson, as told in the Bible, contains several lessons and messages that can be extracted. Here are some of the key lessons that can be learned from the story of Samson. Dependence on God. Samson was a man of superhuman strength, but his strength was intrinsically linked to his relationship with God. Her story highlights the importance of dependence on God in our lives and how our true strength comes from Him. Consequences of choices. The choices Samson made in his life had significant consequences. His attraction to Philistine women and his lack of discernment in relationships led to dangerous situations. It reminds us that our choices have consequences and that we must be wise in our decisions. The power of temptation. The story of Delilah persuading Samson to reveal the secret of his strength shows the power of temptation. Even strong and consecrated people can be tempted and give in. It is a reminder of the importance of resisting temptation and remaining true to our principles. Repentance and redemption. Samson went through a period of suffering and humiliation, but he also experienced repentance and the restoration of his strength and faith. This demonstrates that even in the darkest situations, sincere repentance can lead to redemption and restoration. Destiny and purpose. Samson was chosen from birth to fulfill a divine purpose. His life is an example of how each of us can have a unique destiny and purpose. We must seek to understand and fulfill this purpose in our lives. Faith and courage. Samson's final act, pushing the pillars of Dagon's temple, is a testimony to his faith and courage. He trusted God in his most critical moment. This teaches us about the importance of faith and courage in the face of challenges. Power of prayer. Samson prayed to God in his times of need, and God heard his pleas. This highlights the power of prayer as a tool for seeking divine help and guidance in times of difficulty. Human complexity. The story of Samson shows the complexity of human nature. He was a man of great strength, but he also had weaknesses and vulnerabilities. It reminds us that no one is perfect, and that we all face challenges in our lives. These are just some of the lessons that can be learned from the story of Samson. Ultimately, his story is a rich account that offers insights into faith, morality, redemption, and the human journey toward a greater purpose. The story of Samson is a rich and complex narrative that offers many lessons and messages to those who contemplate it. By reflecting on Samson's life and choices, we can learn about dependence on God, the consequences of our choices, temptation, repentance, and redemption. Samson's life also reminds us that each of us has a unique destiny and purpose, and that we should seek to understand and fulfill those purposes in our lives. Furthermore, her story emphasizes the importance of faith, courage, and prayer as powerful resources in times of challenge. Finally, the complexity of human nature, exemplified in the story of Samson, reminds us that we all face internal and external struggles, but we are also capable of seeking righteousness, redemption, and the realization of our divine potential. Thus, the story of Samson is not just an ancient tale, but a source of inspiration and reflection for generations throughout the centuries, offering profound insights into the human journey in search of meaning, purpose, and faith. She reminds us that even in the most challenging situations, faith and determination can lead us to victory and redemption, and that divine grace is always present for those who sincerely seek it. We hope you have enjoyed this fascinating exploration. If you liked this content and wish to follow more in-depth discussions on biblical themes, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the subscribe button, enable notifications by ringing the bell icon, and like the video so you don't miss any updates. Join us on our journey of knowledge, reflection, and inspiration. Become a part of our community and continue to delve into the wonders of biblical understanding. Subscribe now and share this message with friends and family who are also seeking growth. See you in the next video.